They're clueless. They're just clueless. They're just throwing... They're willing to feed anything out there that is going to try and appease fans who may buy into it, but I think most will probably not. You're relying on all your youngsters coming good. That happened for them back with the early 90s with the guys that came through, but they were an exceptional bunch under an exceptional manager with a lot of really good experienced players around about it. I mean, a lot of real old school guys in the early to mid 90s that were able to usher these young guys through. I know because I was playing against them at the time. But those older experienced guys aren't there to see, you know, the Rashfords, the Daniel James, the Wan-Bissakas, the Greenwoods. You know, there's nobody really there to put the arm around them, both in the management, well, there is in terms of Mike Phelan, but as a manager and as an experienced squad to usher all these kids through and say, this is the future, because they haven't got those individuals at the club. And it's all very well saying, well, we're going young. But you've got to be, if you're going to go young, you've got to be guaranteed that you're going to go young and you're going to be good. And it's going to be over 10 years. And there's just no guarantee that that's going to happen. I honestly think they're sailing into the wind and they really don't know what direction they're going.
I think that's the point. I find it really confusing what Manchester United are all about and what you're hearing coming from the club. After the result on the weekend, there was a statement put out about we're as disappointed with the results as the fans are, but rest assured we're trying to get it right. That was the most unconvincing statement I'd heard from a board, certainly from a club of this magnitude, for quite some time. I'm really not sure who the audience was for that ridiculous statement. Now you're talking about, well, we're probably going to get it right in the next 3 years. Well, you might be able to compete in the next 3 years, 6 windows, if nobody else does anything for the next 6 windows. That's the only way you're making up that kind of ground. And if you're talking about the culture of the club is not right, I think you have to look at not just what's happening on the field, but also in the boardroom. There's no real change upstairs, as much as they dictate the direction, and you need a manager who can communicate that direction from the board and turn it into results on the field. I don't think Solskjaer is that manager either. So everywhere you look, from top to bottom of this club, regardless of how you view which end you see as top, nothing about it is convincing.
Okay, what would you say is a percentage of the fans that are possibly buying this nonsense?
None.
Yeah, probably 1% to be, you know, just for the kind of... There's somebody people out there that will believe anything they say, but I don't think anybody believes it, really. I just think that, you know, I averaged it out over the last 6 seasons post-Ferguson. They finished an average of 21.5 points behind the champions, which is 7 wins. They're miles and miles adrift. And, you know, you look around the club and in every department, they haven't got the best in the field. You know, they haven't got the best chief exec around. They certainly haven't got the best manager around. The players, they haven't got the best of anything. I mean, they keep talking about, oh, we've kept the best goalkeeper in the world by getting David De Gea to sign, but he's not the best keeper in the world anymore. I mean, I'd argue he's not even top 5 because the game's changed and he hasn't moved with the times. So United are just sinking into obscurity because the bad decisions that are being made. And, you know, one uncomfortable truth about all this is that the one kind of common thread in the last 6 years has not been the manager or the players, it's been the executive vice chairman, Ed Woodward, who has been the guy in charge of all the decisions, the hiring and firing. You know, he's been the consistent thread in all this, and he's still there. And believe me, he's the safest man at Old Trafford because he's the guy that the Glazers trust, and he's the guy that the Glazers have appointed to do their business. So fans might not like it, but Ed Woodward's the safest guy at Old Trafford.
Mark, real quick, because you mentioned it in your article, what about a technical director? Is that on the way? Well,
it is, but again, it's like moving food around the plate. This has been on the agenda for almost a year now. When Mourinho was sacked, it was, yeah, we need a technical director of football. 10 months on, nothing. You know, what does that tell you? That they're just looking around and nobody knows what to do. Nobody knows who to appoint. It's a shambles, really.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN+.